Today I'm giving a riding review of the 2018 Softail Heritage FLHCS. I'm also giving this review from the perspective of a Softail rider and someone who loves the Softail chassis. I have had two other Softails. I had a 2014 Softail Slim, and then I had recently a 2016 Softail Heritage Classic. So I put a lot of miles on my previous Softail and was looking to upgrade. And I wasn't specifically looking at just Harleys. I was looking at Triumphs, I was looking at Hondas, pretty much every major motorcycle out there, but found the Softail Heritage 2018 platform to be best suited for me. I myself am not a large rider. I'm approximately 5'9" and 151 pounds. But I do travel 15 to 20,000 miles a year. So I do group riding, I do solo riding, obviously, ride in mountains, various terrains. So I wanted something that is comfortable around town, but also something that I can take on a 10-hour ride and be comfortable and not have any aches and pains. Now, the one thing that I can say is with all the Softails I've had, I've never had any pain after riding long distances. So that was the considerations that I had when I was looking for the new bike. I want something that is light. Obviously, I'm not a large person. I want to be able to lift my bike if it falls. I don't want to have something that is too big for me. I also have equilibrium issues after head injury, so I want something that is very manageable to me. So looking at all the different motorcycle manufacturers, it was hard to find a bike that had everything that the new Softail has. Lower weight, 728 pounds wet, full with 5 gallons of fuel. Has lockable bags now. Has a large engine, 114 inches, and a decent price. I could not find, I was looking at the new Bonneville's, which I really liked for Triumphs, but they don't have storage capacity. They're not, I don't think it would be a good bike for me to travel 600, 700, 1,000 miles in a day. I can't pack my tent stuff, my equipment, and things like that. So that's kind of some of the criteria that were important to me. Having cruise control, also major upgrade. Having LED lights, major upgrade. So these were the factors that caused me to decide to go with the 2018 Softail Heritage. So my first impressions upon riding the new Heritage is that this is not your grandfather's Heritage, or Softail for that matter. Major different ride. Just from when I took it out of the showroom. The bike handles amazing as far as maneuverability, flickability, turning, keeping my line when I'm turning and not trying to have to fight it to make sure I don't scrape my floorboards or keep my straight line turn. Sometimes I found the bike wandering a little bit when I was in sharp turns at high speeds, and it made it a little bit more difficult for me to maintain and keep up with my friends on their baggers, because I was having to put a little bit more work into it when I was taking the sharp turns, especially at high speeds. So the first thing I noticed about the new chassis is that it is definitely a stiffer ride. Do I think it's necessarily more comfortable than my previous Softails? No, I don't really see the comfort difference. Now, I'm not 300 pounds, 250 pounds, and nor am I 6'2", so with someone light like myself riding, I think that makes it a little bit more comfortable because I'm not pushing the bikes to its weight's limitations. Is it a comfortable ride? Yes. Do I find the comfort dramatically better than my previous Softails? No. Am I finding the drivability of it better than my previous Softails? Definitely. This bike is great when it comes to turning and just steering in general. Very much a huge upgrade for the Harleys. For the first time in over 30 years in the Softails, they have totally changed this platform. It is no longer your grandfather's old man's Softail. It is definitely, especially considering it's Harley, a big upgrade when it comes to the technology of it. The stiffer ride and the new chassis, for me, they hit it when it comes to the maneuverability and cornering ability of it, especially the clearance issues. Before, with my other Softails, if I didn't pay attention, I'm dragging my floorboards, and that was not necessarily fun. It can be, when you're not paying attention and you drag it and you're not expecting it, it can be kind of an adrenaline rush, especially doing the tail of the dragon, things like that. I always had to compensate on my turn radius because of the fact that I knew I would be dragging, and so I do not have to worry about that. Can I drag them? Yeah, but I'm not trying to touch my knees to the ground. So it's not as noticeable. I'm sure I will eventually scrape my floorboards, but nothing like it was on previous models. So I'd say at least 70% better when it comes to the cornering ability. The extra 35 pounds of weight that I lost is also a nice little upgrade. It's a lot easier now when I'm backing the bike up, going uphill. A lot easier to move it and not have to strain as much, especially that I'm 151 pounds and the bike is 728 pounds. So I do like the extra weight that they have managed to trim off the bike. The windscreen is a little bit smaller. I do like the look of the blacked out bottom part of the windscreen. Functionality wise though, I don't like it as much because I've been stuck in seriously hard torrential rainstorms and thunder, lightning, and the only way I was able to see sometimes was actually crouching down in the bike and looking through the bottom of my windshield. I can't do that anymore. So while I like the blacked out model, functionally wise, I don't enjoy it as much as the previous all clear model because when it comes to that torrential rainstorm, I can't crouch down now and look through the bottom of my my windshield. Now, did that happen to me very often? No, maybe 2 or 3 times, but it was nice, especially for safety, having that full clear windshield. So maybe when I go on long trips, I might change out my windshield so I have it functionally wise better for inclement weather, especially when I'm looking to run into rain and serious storms like that. The engine is night and day different from all the previous Harley engines. I've ridden on the Evolution, I've ridden on the obviously the 103s and the 103 high outputs. The one thing about the engine is that with the new 114, which is what I have, I don't have the 107, I upgraded to the 114, is that it vibrates more now than it ever did in the past. So I will say, as a Softail, the thing I liked about a previous Softail rider is that I liked the smooth ride. My engine did not really vibrate at all with a dual counterbalance and the way it was mounted to the frame. Now, so they've changed it this year with the new engine, obviously, and it's a totally different engine. But I will say it vibrates noticeably more than the previous Softails. Now, is it irritating? No. Do my mirrors shake? Not really. But what I can say, if I'm honest, is that this year's 2018 Softail Heritage has a decent more vibration than the previous Softails that I've had. I mean, it's not really that dramatic, but it's definitely more vibration. So it's something that I wanted to point out there. Now, is it something that makes me not enjoy the ride? No. it's kind of more like a Harley now than it was when the previous Softails, because it has a little bit more of that rumble. The one thing about the engine too that I've noticed is that it is really, really loud. The 103 engine wasn't really that loud. I mean, it made noise, but the thing that I've noticed about the new Milwaukee 8, especially the 114, is that it rattles a lot, especially when I'm reaching the higher RPMs before I shift and reach the next gear. So, like, for example, when I'm in fourth gear hitting about 55 miles an hour, it'll start to it's hard to explain, but it'll start making a clanking noise, which is probably because it has it has more I forget what it's called, but basically it's the Milwaukee 8, so it's got 8 more, or it's got 4 more pistons or heads or whatever it's called, and that causes it to be more noisy, especially when I hit 6th gear and I'm going 80 miles an hour. It definitely will make a rattling noise. Is it really bad? No. I mean, it's louder though. I mean, it's not as quiet as the previous Softails. I have music on my bike, so really I can drown that out, but it's something to put out there, is that it is not necessarily a quiet ride when it comes to the engine. Now the pipes, they are very quiet. I still have the stock pipes, but the engine is definitely, I feel, a lot louder than the previous 103s. That being said though, their performance on the engine and the torque is nothing like the previous Softails that I've ridden. When I first took it out of the showroom when I bought it, obviously I wanted to ride it respectfully before I broke it in, but I could tell the first time I hit the throttle, the way I turned it on my previous Softails, that it's different in that it will throw me in my seat. Is it a sports bike? No. However, the torque on it is impressive, especially with the Heritage, because it's a little bit smaller weight-wise than the other Harleys out there. So weight ratio to torque, I'd say the Softails have a really good performance level because they're not an 850-pound dresser. So you can definitely feel that torque a lot quicker and a lot more fluid than I think you can on some of the larger models, the Road Kings and the touring bikes, your Road Glides and things like that, because it is smaller, but not pretty much, but it has the same engine. Now the counterbalances, I'm sure, rob a little bit. The dual counterbalances rob a little bit of the performance as compared to the touring bikes, but with a lower weight, it's impressive. The torque it's there for you, and it'll grab you out of your seat. So I am very impressed with the new engine. A little bit noisier, but all around a really good engine. I also like the lockable saddlebags. The previous Softail that I had the upgraded saddlebags as compared to the previous years, and they were a little bit more rigid, but I started to notice that my bags were cracking, and due that I ride in rain quite a bit and then extreme heat, the saddlebags, I could tell, were going to be an issue in about another year, and that they were going to be cracking in certain areas. And so I do like these new saddlebags in that they're hard, they're rigid, hard bags wrapped with the leather, and they're lockable, and that's big for me. I don't have to pull everything out of my saddlebags now when I'm traveling and take it into the hotel room, or worry about having my bags not locking and someone getting into them. So that was a huge selling point, the lockable saddlebags, and the fact that they're they're hard mounted bags, rigid bags, as compared to the soft leather bags that the previous Softails had. And I do like the new studs. They're definitely different. I never was a huge fan of the studs. It just wasn't something that I enjoyed. So I do like these kind of toned down studs, and I like the black out look of the bike. I was never a big fan of chrome. I enjoyed it. It was a pain in the butt to clean, and this year's version of the Heritage, for me, I love my previous Heritage. I love the white walls. I love the chrome. I enjoyed the chrome, but this is a new, mean, aggressive looking Heritage, and it's something that I like. It fits my persona, kind of. It's dark, it's kind of sinister, and it's mean looking, but it's also retro. So it's kind of got the best of the old school, but it's got that new school look added into it. So for some of the Harley purists out there, oh well, I think you're gonna have to build a bridge and get over it, because I really do enjoy this new version with the blacked out look. The other thing, transmission wise, I mean, it is smooth. I enjoyed my 2016, which was very, very smooth as well, but I have noticed that it is a little bit less clunky. It still has, you can still tell when you're shifting it up and down, especially down. It has that clunk, but it's not, it's more refined, if you want, which is something unusual for a Harley. But it is very, very smooth. I find the more that I ride my Softails, the smoother it gets. I get used to it a little bit more, and the engine and the transmission kind of break in together. So I think in the future, the more riding and miles that I put on the bike, it will get even smoother, plus me getting used to the comfort level of it. But the transmission I do enjoy, and it is very smooth. The downshifting and the engine braking on it is really smooth, especially compared to the previous models. And that when I'm going down to about 50 and I'm in 6th gear and I click it into 5th gear, I shift down, it doesn't kind of, it's smooth. It doesn't kind of jerk like it used to in the previous. So I do like the downshifting on it. It seems to be very smooth and something that they refined as well. So it does downshift nice. So I gotta admit, I am very pleased with the new Softail. Now, one thing I can say though is that if I nitpick things, and I'm not gonna only give glaring reviews of the things that I enjoy, but I'll say some of the stuff that I don't enjoy. Engine's a little bit louder, vibrates a little bit more, and I think the finish is not as nice as it used to be. I think they skimped a little bit on the quality, and I've heard this and I've read it in vlogs that this model isn't as high quality of a machine as the previous workmanship that they put into, like, the small things, like the overall paint job, the finish of some of the chrome accents, and like the changing of the nacelle around the headlight. Some of the things I do think Harley skimped on a little bit. It's not as polished and nice, I think, as my 2016 in certain areas, as far as the overall finish of the chrome and the highlighting areas surrounding some of the chrome accent pieces on the new ones. But while I will say though, that it is nice to have visibility. Those two LEDs, or the one LED headlight and then the two passenger lights, gives me an amazing amount of visibility, which is huge. I also like the fact that I now can turn on my the auxiliary passing lights with my with the control on my handlebar. Before, it was a little button that I flip up and down, a toggle switch that was on the front of my near my headlight area there, mounted to the frame. So that's kind of nice. I no longer have to flip that anymore. I can easily just click it on my handlebar, and it gives me greater access to it, and not something I have to bend over, kind of lean forward on my bike to turn on. So it's a lot more functional that way. The cruise control, it's the same as the previous years. They did start having the cruise control uh, offered standard on the 2016s. Same cruise control. I do enjoy it. Um, so basically, in a nutshell, I mean, I really enjoy the new 2018 Softail Heritage. Looks wise, it's nothing like I've seen in the past. It's got the best of the retro or the old school look, but it's got that retro new feel to it that I like. It's more aggressive, it's more sinister, it's got a better engine, it's got better performance, better turning radius. It's no longer a joke to some people, in that it is finally a technical for Harley. It's got technology, something that the Softail, especially the Heritages, I don't think have had in the previous 10 years. I think they've lagged behind. So it was nice to see them have the technology catch up to the machine. Is it the most technological riding machine out there? No, it's a Harley. I know what I'm getting when I buy a Harley, and I'm not going to have that. I mean, if I really wanted that, I buy a Triumph or I buy a Honda. But for me, the bike that I need, especially for my size and what I'm looking to do, this is the only real light touring bike out there that I see. Now, I know there are smaller touring bikes out there like 1300 cc's, but I don't want a 1300 cc bike. I want something a little bit bigger. So for me, it's a perfect light touring bike that finally has some technology, a nice engine, lots of torque, and it's something that I'm really going to enjoy. Now, one last downfall that I have found with the new Softail Heritage is that upgrades, especially exhausts. My previous Harleys, I've been able to do all the stage ones on them: air filters, pipes, header pipes, fuel tuning, fuel management with Advanced 9 fuel packs, things like that. And being able to keep my warranty, not a problem. But with the new EPA restrictions and this new engine, it sucks, because I can't upgrade my bike and do the work for a stage one. And that is, I hate that. It's a loophole that Harley has right now, and it stinks. Plus, nobody has really a universal answer to how I can upgrade my bike. One thing that I can tell you is that the Softails, the catalytic converter is not in the header pipes, which is nice in one respect, in that I don't need to change out and get a full set of pipes if I want to do a stage one. The catalytic converter and the air restriction is all in the muffler, so that makes it nice, because I can get a pair of slip-ons and I'm basically having a full exhaust swap, because my header pipes are clear. They don't have any restrictive areas in them. It's all in the muffler area. The drawback is, though, is that if I do the slip-ons, it's not a regular slip-on. A regular slip-on used to be, I could not have to worry about tuning my bike if I don't change the air intake. However, because the catalytic converter is in the muffler now, if I change the pipes as far as slip-ons, I need to now get a tuner, and then I need to, if I want to be thorough about it, have it dynoed. And I've talked to many different dealers, and they all give me conflicting reviews. I've talked to service people and parts people. The parts people seem to tell me one thing, and that is, if I wanted to get a stage one upgrade, that I have to get Screaming Eagles, I have to get the Harley tuner, and it has to be dynoed. And then the air intake. Now, the 114 comes with a open air intake, but I have a feeling it's not really 100% high flow airflow. I'm sure the back plate on it still has some areas in which it doesn't allow free flow of air into the intake. So with the stage one right now, what I'm told 50% of the time is that to keep my warranty, I need to only use Screaming Eagle pipes. I hate Screaming Eagle pipes. They're not loud. I don't want extremely loud, noisy pipes, but I want pipes that people can hear me on, and I like the rumble. So I'm not really happy with the fact that some people are telling me that I can only use Screaming Eagle pipes to keep my warranty, and then obviously I can't do the stage one. I have to take it into Harley. They've got to do the dyno tune. They have to do the installation of the pipes, and supposedly I can only use Screaming Eagles. And to me, I mean, they've raped me, and without any Vaseline, because that's something I used to be able to do by myself. So now I'm kind of stuck with my pipes for at least another year, because I don't want to pay $1,000 for, at least probably $1,000 for Screaming Eagle pipes, a Harley tuner, and a dyno, because I mean, it's a waste of money in my eyes. Plus the pipes, I really don't, I haven't seen a really good 2-in-1 pipe that I like, especially from Vance and Hines. I have seen a Bassani 2-in-1. So I'm going to be waiting on the pipes, but what I can say, besides some of these things that I pointed out, is I wanted to give a review of a Harley Softail 2018 FLHCS from the perspective of a Softail rider for the last 4 years. This is my third Softail. I wanted to give you the good, the bad, and the ugly. Hopefully I've done that, and you can get a better understanding of the new bike. Nutshell it: lighter, a lot more low-end and high-end torque, great saddlebags. As far as hard-mounted, they are smaller capacity. I forgot to say that. The saddlebags are smaller load capacity than the previous Softails, but you can compensate if you have a tour pack or a good bar that you can put on your bike, sissy bar. The one drawback too, side note, is that they don't make a sissy bar and a luggage rack that you can use both together. That is another downfall. But anyways, nutshell, I'm enjoying my Softail, and for me, it's a perfect light touring bike, something that will give me access and great maneuverability around town, but also comfort on long trips. And the nice thing too is, I didn't hood on it, is that I can easily make this a stripped down cruiser. 2 seconds, I take down the windshield, another 3 minutes, and I unscrew the saddlebags on the sides, and I've got, it basically looks like a deluxe, except for some of the new unique features of the deluxe Softail. So hope you enjoyed this. Ride safe. Have a great day.